Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Talk Scottish Football podcast. We're on to, what episode are we on now, Dave? Four? I think it's episode 4. We're a day late today.
We were a day late last week as well, so let's just pretend this is supposed to be the day.
I suppose we can only blame ourselves for this.
We can only blame ourselves.
Enjoyed the weekend though.
Sunday night was good.
It was a good laugh.
It was actually a really good all weekend.
I mean, we're here talking Scottish football, but Drew McIntyre representing Scotland in another sport. Fantastic stuff there. But back to the footballing conversation.
Yeah, so an interesting weekend, I suppose.
Very interesting.
Jump in with a big story. Premiership title race, the first real, well, I'll say the first real twist. There's been lots so far, but
twist in the pig's tail.
A big twist. You were at the Celtic game on Saturday.
There, yes,
by all accounts, they didn't exactly set the head of the light, but got the job done.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't the most satisfying of performances. But I believe the meltdown from some fans was pretty uncalled for when you consider, we walked away with a 3-0 win. We kept
3-0 at home.
We won 3-0. We got a clean sheet. We extended the lead at the top of the table. Little did we know, though, what would happen the next day.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. So, Edouard picking up an injury of some sort midweek.
I think they were talking on the radio about a toe.
Yeah, so he was on the bench, but he obviously was fit enough to be involved because he made the difference.
He
but
changed the
Griffiths
game.
From the start, how did he do? I didn't see much of
Well,
him.
I think Griffiths was in the situation, going into the game, after scoring 2 goals over the 2 games beforehand, you're thinking to yourself, could fancy a goal here, Ross County. It's the sort of situation you're like, but I feel like he struggled to get into the game. I feel like it was one of the ones, a lot of Celtic fans saying, he tries too hard. Mm-hmm. It seems like he got, too, flustered in the game or something. I don't think it should be read into much. I feel like, he's just back. He's scored 2 already. It was 60 minutes of the game where he didn't play his best, but there's still a long time to go in the season. He's still got to come back in and score more goals. I think his performance wasn't abysmal by all accounts. I think you could say the try too hard thing was there.
I mean, he's still lacking match sharpness. I know he's scored
Exactly.
2 goals, but he's still not match fit. He's a long way off that, I think so.
And you look at a lot of people complaining why we spent £3.5 million on Patrick Clamara.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
If Griffiths is in there and Edouard's coming on with an injury, what's Clamara going to do? Look, he's a week into a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
I think we don't need to worry yet now. There's a running joke, that we've signed all these players and they don't get a chance and they just disappear. I mean, like the prime example, look at Marvin Compa, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know.
We don't want it to turn out one of those scenarios, but we're looking at a promising young striker. I think the fact he hasn't played within his first week in a Celtic contract, we don't need to worry too much. When we have got 2 strikers there, one of Edouard's quality, who is arguably the best player in the country, and one in Lee Griffiths, who we know can score goals, I don't think it's something to look into much. If Griffiths does perform to the standard of what he did against Ross County week in, week out over the next, sort of portion of the season, then maybe we do look at Kamara being that second option. But he has to get a run in. He will get a run in. I don't think we need to worry ourselves too much about it.
By all accounts, Ross County had chances in that game.
Exactly. They did.
Big chances
They
too.
did have really big. But this is the thing. The thing that annoys me, and I think a lot of fans are overlooking, is, Ross County, yes, we were very vulnerable at the back in the first half. Johnny Hayes had a nightmare.
He was at left back, wasn't he?
He was at the
'Cause
left back
the boy
position.
Mullen for Ross County is a great player.
Yep.
I really, really like him.
But, we made plenty of mistakes. Even the centre-halves didn't look comfortable, Simunovic and Julian in the first half. But people are overlooking the fact that Celtic had a chance to score 2 or 3 goals as well.
Yeah.
I guess the main criticism that Celtic fans are going to be worrying about is the fact if we perform that shaky at the back against the likes of Rangers, against the likes of Copenhagen, then it's game over. You can forget about winning it. So, I do understand the frustrations from Celtic fans. I think that there is, work to be done. Greg Taylor has to come in, I think, as left back now.
I just think it's mental how he's not got an extended run in that team.
I want Neil Lennon to come out and give the reason. There's got to be something there.
Because, I mean, he was great for Kelly, and even when he's had games for Scotland, I've been impressed. Like, he came in for his Scotland debut away to Belgium, and he did fine. Like, he looked, absolutely solid, a natural left back. I mean, Celtic fans aren't happy Tierney left, but they don't have a left back anywhere near as good as him now. But I think out of the bunch, Taylor's probably the closest, in my opinion.
But the fact that Greg Taylor isn't getting in the team, it looks like Johnny Hayes is about to sign a new contract at Celtic. The question is, was Greg Taylor a Neil Lennon signing? Isn't that somebody who Neil Lennon actually wanted in the team, or was it done higher up? You know how football works. I think it was Tommy Wright who came out last week and he said, there's no point in calling me manager, call me head coach, because he has no control. Was Greg Taylor a Neil? There's got to be something there, because there's been no indication on the pitch that Greg Taylor is not good enough to play for Celtic.
That's the bizarre thing, because when he has played, he's done absolutely fine.
He's been solid.
And for modern day left backs, we expect the unexpected. We expect them to be fantastic. But if you're a left back, if you're solid and a 6.5, 7 out of 10 every week. That's more than good enough.
And I guess you can use the same sort of what I said about Klimala. He's only a week in it. Greg Taylor, still by all accounts young. He 21, 22 years old. He's got a long future ahead of him. But it's the fact Bolly and Golly has shown that he can struggle. Johnny Hayes, not a natural left back.
Will do a job, but the fact that they're putting him as first choice left back is pretty scandalous, really.
And it's over the next few weeks, if we're going to keep leaking out these chances to smaller teams, the question's got to be asked of Neil Lennon: when does he put whatever it is aside to give Taylor a chance? I'm just dying for Neil Lennon to come out and comment on it.
The thing is with Greg Taylor, when he was at Kelly under Steve Clarke, their defence was fantastic. He was playing part of a defence of the Premiership.
And that's how he got into the Scotland team.
Sheets and, yeah, exactly. So, you'd imagine he'll get a shot eventually. As he's still kind of young, but it does seem a bit of a strange one.
It's annoying as well because obviously Neil Lennon's not in a situation where after the game, if someone asked Neil Lennon, why is Greg Taylor on the team? What's happening there? Greg Taylor, Celtic fans are asking why he's on the bench. I mean, we just won 3-0. Neil Lennon's going to obviously come out and give a generic answer. We won 3-0. We kept a clean sheet. I don't see any situation wrong with the back four that I played. And that's the annoying thing. And that's no criticism of Neil Lennon. I don't know what it's going to take before we do get something said in the matter or Greg Taylor is actually given his chance.
Yeah, and it does seem that Celtic seem to be at the moment very reactive in terms of the transfer market, in terms of how they jiggle up the squad, because it feels like in the summer they didn't really invest as much as they should have done, and then I think they've spent a bit of money in January as a result of Rangers really kicking out the backside. So I don't know, it's a bit of a strange one, but I think ultimately 5 points clear.
And 5 points clear, that's, you're talking about Rangers giving them a kick up the backside. I mean, there was a kick up the backside for Rangers this weekend.
There was indeed.
And that is this the kind of, is the winter break once again doomed Rangers' chances?
See, I feel like this is a bit unfair on Hearts, because I think Hearts were absolutely fantastic.
I know, that's the thing. What we said last week, I believe we spoke on it. Did we speak in the last podcast? Yeah. Was it done the Liam Boyce signing?
No, he signed after the last one.
Was it after the last one? Well, anyway, the Liam Boyce signing, when it was put up and when Hearts announced it, the first reaction from myself was
goals.
Some signing.
Yeah, he's going to score goals. He scores goals everywhere he's gone. I think the one season he didn't have a good goal scoring record. He had a serious knee injury or something like that. So, he proved it on Saturday. Not even just his goals. It just Hearts have missed having a goal scorer in that team for so long. So the threat of having one.
And I think him and Naismith are going to be a fantastic link up.
Yeah, if Naismith can stay
fit. We speak about that every week. Can Stephen Naismith ultimately play 2 games in a row?
And he did very well at the weekend.
Exactly. Both of them looked great together. Liam Boyce single-handedly may have just dealt a major blow in Rangers' title hopes.
I think for Hearts, watching Hearts on Sunday reminded me of watching Hearts teams of old, where they're at Tynecastle, there's a good atmosphere, they're up for it, they're aggressive, they're in your face, they make it difficult for you. And the Old Firm traditionally don't like going to Tynecastle, and that's what it was like at the weekend. So as much as Rangers were poor and they're disappointed, I think it was definitely more a case of Hearts beating Rangers than Rangers sort of crumbling. I don't think that's really what happened. I mean, Rangers had plenty of chances. First half, Ryan Kent and Joe Aribo both had big chances. Kent then scored. Defoe had half chances. The chances they got, though, were more... Actually, now that I think of it, it was more Hearts letting them in. Hearts let them in a few times. I think in terms of shots on target, they only had 2 Rangers, so to Hearts 5 shots on target. And Hearts had 54% of the possession, so it wasn't like Hearts didn't deserve to win. They absolutely deserved to win it.
I feel like both sets of fans now on either end of the Old Firm, Celtic and Rangers, both sets of fans I don't think should get carried away in sense of winning or losing, because a lot of Rangers fans I think they over-dramatised the situation and saying, that's it, we've handed it back to Celtic. You'd seen a lot of that, and there was a lot of meltdown in the phone-ins and in social media, saying we've handed the title back to Celtic, and then obviously a lot of Celtic fans getting really happy that, this could potentially be the kind of break that we needed to escape them.
It was Gerrard's post-match comments that kind of sort of made me go, because he comes out and he basically just slags his team rotten for not having the character and the strength, really.
And I don't because the season is long. It's a long way away from being over. Yeah. Now, within the next, sort of how many games is left this season? Probably about 15 around that mark or something.
Both sides will drop points.
Exactly. Look, Celtic, as a Celtic fan, I can sit here and confidently say that Celtic are not going to take 3 points from every single...
No,
excluding the Old Firm games, we'll take them out of the conversation. Celtic are not going to take 3 points in every single game.
They're just not good enough.
I would love it to happen. I would love Celtic to take 3 points in every single game, but we have got trips to, you look at Motherwell this year, we've got to go to Fir Park, you've got to play Tynecastle again.
Well, the thing is, I remember at the start of the season, everyone was talking about how Celtic and Rangers were going to be comfortably ahead of the rest, and the Old Firm games would decide the title. The first Old Firm game, Celtic won, and a few weeks later, they were back neck and neck. It didn't mean anything in the context of the result. Rangers have just won the Old Firm now, and now they're further behind than they were before it, so that doesn't really mean anything either. Both sides are capable of dropping points to the teams below them in the league, and there's definitely going to be more twists and turns.
I certainly would not like Celtic fans to get too overconfident. Yes, let's have a wee giggle about it. It's nice to enjoy the moment while they come along. But it's certainly not, at any point of the season yet where we can say that that's over. And I feel like if Celtic were in a situation we were 5 points behind, there'd be no chance I'd be turning around and saying we've handed Rangers the title, because there are still 2 big Old Firm games to play, and there's still away trips that no one likes. And they include Easter Road, Tynecastle, Fir Park, and even tomorrow night, Celtic have got to go to Perth.
And the thing is, Celtic, you'd expect them to win comfortably, but it's one of those... If Celtic don't carve the chances open, if Edouard doesn't make it, if Griffiths isn't on his game, I mean, all these little factors can lead into poor results, and they can happen. And it's definitely, it's not out of the realms of possibility that Celtic drop points tomorrow night and Rangers pick up all 3.
And I think one thing to quickly touch on before we move off Celtic and Rangers, one thing we didn't really speak about in the Celtic game, Neil Lennon once again changing the system up.
What is that all about? Does he have a big roulette wheel at the start of the game and he just decides what he's going to go with?
I don't know, but this is my question to you, Dave, because I kind of spoke about it myself on my channel. When you think about it, does Neil Lennon changing from this 3-5-2 one week to the 4-5-1 or the 4-2-3-1, sorry, the next week, does it make him adaptable as a manager, do you think? Or does it make him...
himself on that he's been
That's
adaptable?
because the main argument is, people are saying, Neil Lennon's too one-dimensional, he has one plan, he can never change, but then it changes and then Celtic fans are complaining.
Fair enough,
So
right?
Where do you balance it? What happens there?
I could understand it if Lennon played, I don't know, say 3-5-2 on a Saturday at home to Hamilton, and then Thursday night he goes and changes it up when he's going away in Europe, and then the Saturday he changes it again when he's going to Ibrox. Fair enough. Big games, you adapt to the opposition. If they're equal to or better than you, you've got to find a way to beat them. But to change the formation 3 times a week when you're playing Thistle, Killie and Ross County, it's just bizarre. Your squad is so much better than theirs that you should have a set way of playing and not worry about having to change. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it at all.
I mean, tactically they've already been outdone twice by Rangers this season, and you think if he wanted to get used to that 3-5-2 he would stick to it. I don't really know. We need to wait and see, because Kamara should have maybe came in and joined up with Griffiths up front, see that, but obviously it's not been match tested. You don't know what's going to happen. It's hard. I think Neil Lennon does get a lot of stick when it comes to his tactical choices. But I mean, both teams at the weekend went bizarre tactically, because Rangers in the middle of the park, they looked...
we're at the stage that we're near enough February now, and nobody, I don't think, knows what Celtic's best 11 in formation is, really. Lennon doesn't know. There's no way
there was
he
a
knows.
point, honestly, if you asked me straight after the Lazio game when we won in Rome, I could turn around to you and I could say, this is Celtic's best team, this is it. But then over the course, kind of kept changing and changing.
comes in,
changing.
and
but over the last couple of months, it's been blood. It's been blood. But I mean, that is the tail at the top of the table.
Yeah, we talked about Celtic's team selection issues. For Rangers, oh god, they missed James Tavernier and Alfredo Morelos. For me, we kind of briefly touched on this. I would argue more that Tavernier is a bigger miss for Rangers. They lacked so much balance. I think Barisic is fantastic. To be honest, since he came in, I've always thought he's been great. It took a while for Rangers fans to warm to him, but he is fantastic down that left-hand side. At right back, Tavernier has had his critics, a lot of them by Rangers fans. But he's one of those, once he's gone, you notice how much you miss him.
I love watching the sort of, there's been points over the season where people say, right, that's it, Tavernier's no good enough, he's not good enough, he's costing us this, he's cost that, blah, blah, and they put the blame on him. And then over the past 2-3 games when he's been out, the only thing I've been saying is, my God, we miss Tavernier.
Yeah.
And I think there is a real... They don't realise how much that he actually is to that team, because they look certainly different without him anyway.
You think about Rangers at their best, their fullbacks tend to go high and wide, and Barisic and Tavernier crossing the ball in for... If you've got Defoe there in the middle, we said it last week, if Morelos is up front, you can play it to him and he'll make a chance out of nothing. Mm-hmm. Defoe, certainly at 37 years of age, is not really going to be able to do that. He needs supply. If you give him it, he's probably going to score a goal. So you're missing a whole dimension of Rangers attack, because if you've got a Rebo playing off the right, he's not going to go wide and hug the touchline. He wants to come in and then if you've got Flanagan at right back, he's not going to bomb on and get down. Like, it's just, they looked completely unbalanced. And I almost think that Tavernier was a bigger miss on Sunday than Morelos was. Morelos will be back
because at least with Defoe, you know he's got
goals
more
in
than
him,
capable of scoring.
Yeah.
And even though Morelos is so good and fantastic goal scorer, at least Defoe has got that quality. And you know what? I guess some of the big news we haven't touched on is the fact that Defoe is signed permanently.
Yeah,
big for Rangers.
So was it 2 years? He's here to the end of next season.
I think so.
2021. Yeah. Yeah, a great bit of business for Rangers. Not mainly for what he does off the pitch. From what I can gather, he's so well liked amongst the Rangers squad. I mean, to have someone of his experience and quality in the training on the training ground to help Steven Gerrard, even, you know,
you're looking at one of the best Premier League.
Yeah, you've heard some of the Rangers players talk about, you know, how much they love working with Jermaine Defoe. It's a great bit of business for Rangers.
Well, Celtic and Rangers, certainly long way to go. I mean, where do we move on next? What do you want to talk about, Dave? What have we got? I mean, we've got the rest of the...
We'll skim through the Premiership.
So some of the Premiership still to look through.
The pick of the games on Saturday, we said in the Premiership, was Motherwell Hibs. It ended up being a nothing each, but I think for Hibs that's a really good point, and by all accounts they could have won it. They had chances.
And I think going into this game, especially on match day itself, I was certainly thinking to myself that I think Motherwell are going to take this now. I think Motherwell have just been that good and Hibs have been that inconsistent that I don't see them going to Fir Park and doing something here. But if I was Jack Ross, as you've already touched on, I'd be certainly more than pleased.
Yeah, definitely a good point, but I think he'd be a little bit frustrated they didn't take all three, because that would have been a massive free.
I know, I guess you get it. It's one of those games that beforehand, I think if you said to Jack Ross, oh, no, you'll take a point away here today, you'd be like, okay, but then when you look back on the game, by the end of the 90 minutes, you're like...
The thing is with Hibs now, they look such an attacking threat no matter who they're playing.
I mean, even Martin Boyle's getting linked with Celtic, as we spoke about last week, and they've got so many good players moving forward that they're capable now of going to places like Fir Park and even the bigger teams and doing damage, because we've seen them cause problems at Celtic Park, seen them cause problems at Ibrox.
Yeah.
They certainly can do it at Fir Park.
There's no way I mean, if you look at Hibs now, I mean, the improvement they've made under Jack Ross is evident. You can clearly see... Despite results maybe not showing it completely, there has been certainly a dramatic improvement in the performances. Yeah, definitely. We said this with Hearts as well. Early on, the results weren't there, but you were starting to see little signs of the performance, whereas on Sunday you saw the result. But I think just as importantly, you saw what Stendhal was trying to do. And it's the same case with Jack Ross at Hibs. I mean, these are two massive clubs that should be way above where they are. I mean, they should be easily challenging for third spot, the two of them.
I mean, we thought the stinker of the weekend was going to come at Hamilton and Livingston.
Yeah, and it ended up being...
How were we wrong there?
Yeah, a great result again for Livy. They just continue to...
They keep going. And honestly, Gary Holt, I always, every single week, no matter what platform you find me on, I cannot stop giving the guy praise.
Yeah.
Because what he is building there is unbelievable. We talk about how teams like Motherwell and Aberdeen are on a fraction of a budget of Celtic and Rangers, and there's no way that they can catch up with us. Livingston are on an even smaller fraction than the likes of Aberdeen.
Of course. But you look at their home crowd. I don't know what the attendance was at that game, but I don't imagine it was up to
It could have been great. It could have been fantastic.
But for Hamilton, I think the goals they conceded were really poor. Defensively, they just weren't good enough. I mean, they scored goals, fair enough. One player I want to talk about who was man of the match on Saturday for Livingston, Marvin Bartley. He was fantastic for Livingston, and I remember watching him at Hibs when Hibs won the championship, and he was brilliant. He's big, he's powerfully strong, He wins the ball, he drives forward, which, if you ask Hibs fans, is exactly kind of what they've been missing this season.
I think he has been one of the big changes in Livingston for me from last season, being a team who, especially towards the end of the season, were battling towards the bottom end of the table, making sure they didn't fall down.
And he just gives them control in midfield.
And I've seen that firsthand. He's such a presence in the park that
he's big and he's strong, but he also gets about. He's quick. He'll nip in at a tackle. He was fantastic at the weekend, and he has been very good for Livingston. I mean, Hamilton. Yeah, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot defensively. They had chances. I mean, it wasn't like Livingston completely dominated this game. Hamilton had good chances. But yeah, they'll be disappointed.
And on the other side, from Livingston, talking about Hamilton there, a lot of, surprisingly, and this is putting the personal issues aside, a lot of people perhaps thinking that Brian Rice's time may be dwindling. A lot of people getting impatient. A lot of people thinking, I mean, and this is completely forgetting, everything that's came out. A lot of people think he should give up with Hamilton because
I think, if there's one club that's not going to run out of patience with a manager, it's Hamilton.
I think the club themselves, the board and such, are not going to. But fans don't seem too pleased with what they're seeing
fans,
in a minute.
We've said this last week. I mean,
what can they expect?
Yeah, exactly. But what are they going to be pleased about? Because even if they scrape to stay up, they're all fed up, I think.
Because this is... Like, this is coming from my experience of coming home for the game on Saturday, listening to what they're saying on the radio, and I was shocked when I heard people, like, this is what I'm saying, like, I was shocked when I heard people phone up and say, if I was Brian Rice, I would resign. And that is not because of, you know, the gambling situation and such. This is just how it's going there. Because what else can the guy do? He's trying his best. He's not getting results at the team. He should say. A lot of people think he should just save himself.
But I mean, there's no way. I mean, it's not like Hamilton are doomed. I mean, Hearts, based on what we saw on Sunday, Hearts are going to pick up. I mean, I don't think now after watching that performance, they'd have to really sort of fold to not pick up. St Mirren and Hamilton, I think, will be battling it out. Ross County could get dragged into it. It looks like Kilmarnock want to get dragged into it, judging by their recent run of form. But Hamilton, as long as they're still in with a chance of staying up, they're not going to get rid of a manager.
Well,
yeah, I mean, St Mirren at Aberdeen, what an absolute horrendous game of football this was. It would have got football stopped, this.
I couldn't believe that I sat through the whole 90 minutes.
Oh,
yep, I put it on. I thought to myself, let's do this. Let's have a wee go.
St Mirren must feel like they should have won it. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
had the big chance.
I'll tell you what, the boy McCarthy that they have signed, what a player he looks like he's going to be. He was absolutely solid. I thought he looked incredible. A young Irishman. I think he is a terrific wee bit of business there from St Mirren, because he's obviously someone that no one in the league is going to, actively go out their way to pursue. But he came in and he looked. And Grant, there was a point in the game where it looked as though he could have gave away a penalty.
Stonewall.
Could have given. We're going to say could have given away a penalty. But the rest of the game, honestly, I thought he looked, solid. A lot of fans really pleased with his part, because he was meant to come off at the end and they ended up postponing the substitution because
it would have been
a
massive win for St Mirren. Obika hit the post, he went close.
They should have scored that.
Yeah, 1-on-1, you'd expect him to finish that. But Aberdeen could have had zero complaints if they lost that game, I don't think. The penalty, they should have had a penalty kick, but Aberdeen didn't deserve anything at that game. I just went on Twitter after the game and I thought, we spoke last week about how pressure was starting to build on McInnes. Wow. Every single tweet to the full-time result was McInnes out. Every single one.
There cannot be a single happy Aberdeen fan at the minute with McInnes.
I don't think any of them are happy. There are some who...
I can understand loyalty in football, right? There's this kind of, when you get a manager and they've been there for a long time, like there was a time where Alec Ferguson lost 3 league titles in a row at Man United, and people were starting to ask questions of it, was he done? And Man United fans would turn around and say, can he sack Ferguson? Now, obviously, McInnes and Ferguson's a completely different story, right?
I don't even think it's
but
that.
There's not even. I've not seen one Aberdeen fan who's openly came out and said, McInnes has been here 7 years now. We've got to stand by him. He'll pull this together. Not. They want him gone. They want him out.
I don't know. There's some Aberdeen fans I know who definitely think that who could they get this better.
That is what I ask every Aberdeen. Like the Aberdeen fans that I know personally, what I say to them is, right, let's be honest here. Who are you going to get? Gordon Strang? Is he going to come in after everything he's been through?
It's the old Tommy Wright argument with St Johnstone. Who's going to get this better? Maybe it's not even about getting someone that's better. It's just about getting some fresh ideas.
Because one thing as well that when you speak to fans, I speak to Rangers fans and they say to me, we have dodged one bullet with McInnes. Because obviously he was linked with the Rangers job, numerous times over the course of the return to the Premiership. I think he's going to be there. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. But
Aberdeen are still, they're only 4 points off third. It's not like they're doing woefully bad.
There is that sense of entitlement at Pittodrie.
But it's understandable. If you look at the league table, Aberdeen really should be fighting out for third spot. They should be theirs to lose.
They've got the players to do it, but I don't think, personally, I don't think Aberdeen fans, there's no right for them to think. I don't know. I'm not a fan of McInnes, but the entitlement that is over there, I'm not overly convinced. I don't know. There's not a lot to prove over the last 10, 20 years that Aberdeen should be entitled to be in that third spot every year. They've got to fight for it. The teams like Motherwell, Motherwell got 2 cup finals.
That's the thing. They have had to fight for it, but they've fought for it and almost pretty regularly had it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like Aberdeen fans.
Because the way I always looked at it as well, there was that long period of time when they're finishing second. But obviously the conversation is always a completely different league. Everything had changed. The money had gone out.
But I'd argue that when Rangers were out of the league, the teams below Aberdeen were better than they are now. I think.
Do you think so?
I do. Yeah.
I think.
You look at the way the cups were spread around. It wasn't like Celtic win the cups every year.
I think. To be fair in that aspect as well, though, I think Celtic are a far better team now than what they were over those seasons. Because I think Brendan Rodgers completely revolutionised. As unpopular an opinion Brendan Rodgers is now, he completely revolutionised the Celtic squad. I think, for me, I feel like Scottish football is probably at its best point in a long time.
I would be very surprised if Aberdeen get rid of McInnes anytime soon.
Oh no, I don't see it happening, but I certainly understand frustrations. Although, as I said, I'm not on the side of they should be that third place side.
If they finish fourth and don't win a cup this season, they'll want him gone.
The thing is, do you think he'll be there to be at that new Pittodrie, that new stadium?
I think that was the plan. So I think unless there's a monumental sort of, mess that he creates at Aberdeen, he's going to be there for the remainder. Quickly, just the last Premiership game I'm going to touch on. Kelly are in a horrendous run of form.
Alex, that's 7 losses in the bounce now. 7 losses for Alex Dyer. Look, Kelly are struggling big time. They can't get goals. They can't defend. They need... Honestly, I've said this from one of the... I'm sure I said it in one of the first podcasts. I am still baffled by the appointment of Alex Dyer. I don't think he still got the job.
No, I don't.
And
they should have just gone out and got Gary Holt for me.
Aye, that was... It looked perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was...
they might have gone and got him.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
No.
I don't know if there was any contact. Obviously, Gary Holt is probably in a position right now where he feels very... I don't imagine there would have been too much of an incentive to make the change.
I can't really imagine Gary Holt saying no to Kilmarnock if they did go, because how much further is he going to take Livingston?
I don't know. He's like,
Kilmarnock
if he finishes, I'm not even going to say finishes. If he finished his Livingston career, managerial career at Livingston, with them sitting 5th in the table, that's as far as he's ever going to get.
You'd imagine so, unless they win a cup. But
which is few and far between.
But
for
then
teams
you
like
look at what Steve Clarke did with Kelly; they have the potential to really challenge for 3rd spot, which I don't think Livingston quite have.
And that's the thing. If you look at the Kilmarnock squad, yes, they've lost Greg Taylor. He's obviously moved to Celtic. Lost a couple of other squad players in and about there.
I mean, guys like Alan Power, Gary Dicker, Eamon Brophy, Stephen
There's a team there that can finish 3rd.
Yeah, they were all the massive parts of what Steve Clarke did.
He got the best out of every single player, but that's not happening right now. And Alex Dyer, Kelly have shown in the past, the people that run there, obviously, with Steve Clarke, was a completely different story. But Kelly's shown in the past they're a team that aren't scared to make a change, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another managerial change if this keeps up.
They're really starting to get dragged into this relegation battle as well. Another loss, another couple of losses, they're really starting.
And that's the thing.
Trouble.
What baffles me is, and obviously there was the reasons for Alessio being let go as Kilmarnock manager. I feel like when Alessio was in charge, there was a point where I was like, it looks as though Kelly will kind of pull things back together.
When he gets sacked.
Exactly. I was like, they'll finish top half. They're fine, and then bang, now look at them.
Yeah, they're really
relegation
great results for
conversation.
St Johnstone, as we said in the last month or so, they've started to turn things around a little bit. So.
What do you make briefly on that before we move on to the other leagues and other conversations in today's podcast? I mean, Tommy Wright, do you understand his place in the modern game now? He thinks there's no need for him to be called a manager. Like, do you think the managers are hard done by where they don't get the final say?
It just depends on each club. It's completely different club by club, I think. I mean, there's some clubs where the manager's absolutely in charge. There's some that I think the modern sort of take on how football should be done is that there should be a transfer committee and all this rubbish. For me, ultimately, if your manager's not getting the final say in transfers, I think there's something wrong.
I think for me, there is examples everywhere of how it's well done, how it's badly done.
But even in those examples, it's not like they're getting signed to the manager and just deal with them. The manager still gets the final say. I think if you look in a wider sense, Liverpool are a perfect example. They've got a transfer committee, they've got a sporting director who goes out and does all negotiations and stuff. But there's not going to be a single player signed for Liverpool that Jurgen Klopp doesn't go, I want him. And that's the way it should be, because ultimately, especially at a club like St Johnstone, you can't afford to just give a manager players and be like,
try your best.
Yeah, that's just not how football works for me. It's just a bit mental. Anyway,
Premiership was good though this
Championship
weekend.
Was even better though, wasn't it? Oh,
I tell you last week, I said to you last week, David, I said, what did I say? Have some faith. I said, you're going to do it. You're going to do it, and you've done it.
Listen,
you were there. Fill us in.
Oh, it was amazing. It was great. I mean, the night couldn't have gone any better for Dunfermline and Stevie Crawford. It was fantastic. The first half.
What a weekend for Dunfermline altogether, because Joe Cardo's interview went up the channel.
Yeah, it did go up the channel, yeah. 1,000 views on that. Thank you very much for all the support. It was
terrific.
Anyway, back to the Pars in this day and age. They are. The first half was live on the telly. The first half was absolutely atrocious in terms of football. Dunfermline had 2 chances and scored 2 goals, which was brilliant. Went in at half time 2-0 up. Ryan Dow got his 3rd goal against Dundee this season, and as a former Dundee United man who was taking pelters, he absolutely loved it. Kevin Nisbet, wow, what a player, what a man. Is
Kevin Nisbet a player who you think will be able, the same way you have the conversation about Shanklin, do you think Nisbet could take the step up to the...
Oh, definitely. He's not going to... I don't think he'll go anywhere this month unless they get ridiculous money in the next couple of days. The chairman came out this morning and said that they had no plans to get rid of him. I mean, his goal, I don't know if you saw his goal. Dundee, fair enough, it's not great defending, but he picks it up just inside the Dundee half, runs past one, cuts inside past another 2, slots it away from the edge of the box. Great goal. The best thing about his goal was, Dunfermline had lost 5 in the bounce going into this, and they were under a lot of pressure. Stevie Crawford was under a lot of pressure from the supporters. Nisbet scored and immediately ran over to Crawford on a touchline with all the players and the manager celebrating together, which was, I mean, for me, it was absolutely great to see. Stevie Crawford's a sort of club legend who a lot of people don't fancy his manager, but you know, it's mental. Dunfermline last week, I was worried about them getting sucked into the relegation battle and going down.
And
We're
that's
now a point off Dundee.
That's what I was going to say. This result surely kind of kick-starts the conversation again for potential playoff football.
Absolutely. I mean, they got a Queen of the South on Saturday. If they win that, yeah, they're absolutely looking at the playoffs again. We just signed yesterday Jonathan Afolabi, is that
from Celtic? Yes,
from Celtic.
He's
I
done
know.
a good bit of business there.
I know absolutely nothing about him, to be honest with you.
I've seen a couple of performances from the unders teams and such, and around the reserves. And when we signed him, he was highly spoke about because obviously I think it was Southampton he came in from. And you know, there was a lot of talk about how promising he can be. And I think, by the looks of what I've seen from the glimpses that you get to see,
he's a big lad too.
He looks physical. He looks fast. I think he's somebody who we'll get to know a lot about him in the level that he'll be playing here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Championship is it's going to be more tough and aggressive than what he's used to in terms of football. This is proper, senior football now. And if he's a big lad, he's going to be perfect for what we need, really, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, it's mental how this transfer window's changed for Dunfermline. At the start of it, we lost McDonald and Cochrane to Hearts. Greg Killity left, who we were all devastated to see go because he was brilliant. And then Dom Thomas is coming from Killie, and he was fantastic. The man of the match on Friday. If this guy ends up being a player, it's mental. I mean, I've said this all season long. The Championship is so crazy that things can change week by week in terms of you're getting relegated to. You could have a decent end of the season here, and that's what it's done. If Dunfermline win on Saturday, they are really looking at the playoffs.
It's mental because you just look at it. You look at the table like Dunfermline, right? We can win this weekend in a very decent position, but then you could go to lose two or three games in a row again, and then you're back to the conversation.
That's why I think Dunfermline board have had a lot of stick. I think from a lot of the supporters about giving Crawford the job in the first place and stuff, but I think they deserve a little bit of credit because it's easy to make impulsive decisions when you're looking over your shoulder and you're like 2 points off the bottom, but they're now a point off the playoffs again. You can't sack a manager when you're a point off the playoffs.
Exactly.
So, they could have easily 2 weeks ago have gone, you know what, we're getting rid. And then it takes 2-3 weeks to get somebody in, they don't have a great start, and all of a sudden you're in a worse position than you are. The players showed their backing for Crawford on Friday, and the board have done the same. Quickly to touch on Dundee, they are... when we watched Dunfermline against Partick Thistle, when I watched them against Partick Thistle in September, I said Thistle were definitely going down.
And that's a conversation
Friday,
again we can have a day.
Dundee on Friday looked even worse than Thistle did that day. They were atrocious. And James McPake was pretty scathing in his post-match comments about his players. He likes a Paul McGowan, Graham Dorrans, just didn't show up. Mm-hmm. He said it himself. He said the experienced players have got to do more. They didn't do it anywhere near enough. They just sold Danny Johnson yesterday, who their fans were singing his name when he was on the bench. He came on, looked pretty decent, and they've just sold him yesterday.
Where did they end up?
Leyton Orient he went to. The whole club at Dundee is just nuts just now.
And it's been like that for a couple of years.
But
now,
this is what will give them permanent hope that they can put them to the playoffs, because Dundee are pretty rotten just now.
You talk about, you spoke about it briefly. Let's quickly, we'll try and move through as many games in the league as we can. But Partick Thistle, the conversation for them going down is maybe hotter than ever. Like, once again, this was another meltdown that we're hearing in the radio.
It's one step forward, 2 steps back for Thistle.
Yep, because they look as though that's what I don't understand about Thistle. Because there's times Ian McCall comes out and I listen to his conferences and he came out and I think it was after the last win and he sounded confident. He was sounding happy, the boys. And then you look at the transfer business he done on top of that.
It looks great on paper. Great,
fantastic business on paper. And then they go to Arbroath and.
Arbroath are no mugs,
exactly, because Arbroath are a team who set up defensively very well.
Yeah.
They're hard,
organised, difficult to beat.
Exactly, very hard to break down. Partick Thistle, it was not going to be easy. Obviously, Kenny Miller was a big story. We filmed last week. Yeah. Minutes later, Kenny Miller leaves the club.
Apparently, he's going to Wraith Rovers. That's what I'm hearing. It was their game on Saturday.
But you look at Arbroath are not easy to beat, but Partick Thistle, they are in a situation where going down is very plausible.
That was amplified by Alloa beating Queen of the South. Yep. What a result for Alloa. I was watching it come through and I was thinking...
I guess we can kind of intertwine those two games.
Especially down at Palmerston as well. Queen of the South are also a team who are in danger of getting really sucked in the relegation battle. But Alloa, what a result for them. And Peter Grant, he's doing a great job there.
I really like, after speaking to Peter Grant, I've started to try to keep up with Alloa because I was really pleased with what I heard for him that time. I got to speak to him, but... You look at Partick and Ian McCall, times like I see McCall must look back and go, why did I leave there? As much as he loves the Jags, I
think Ian McCall realised when he got there the job he had to do was a lot bigger than.
Because
it's his club and I get that, but I still think they're going to stay up.
Do you think so? That's the thing.
It's
just the fact that on paper they have got one of the.
It looks like it's the hearts of the.
Because Partick Thistle now have got a squad Take away Dundee United, you've got one of the top squads in the league.
Yeah,
just with what the signings have made, even over just this January
in terms
window.
of reputation and
because
stuff.
People highly, I've not seen a lot of them, but Zach Rudden spoke very highly
Yeah,
of.
he scored goals for Falkirk.
Leo Connor's a Man United academy graduate, former Man United unders captain.
Darian McKinnon, who's been around the block, what he gives you.
Aye,
He's going to solidify the midfield, you'd have thought.
And I thought that was a move that he took because he felt like he could have helped Partick.
They just got Darren Brownlee in from Queen of the South yesterday. They'd signed him in a pre-contract, but they've got him in permanently now. He'll go in at the back, which will be a big loss for Queens, but should help Thistle. But they just need results. But yeah, the relegation battle's hotting up big time.
It is. And I mean, we talk about hotting up. I mean, Dundee United, that was hot.
Yeah, I mean,
last couple of minutes there.
I kind of feel for Morton fans a little bit. They've been through the ringer a little bit this year. They're so close to getting an amazing result up at Tannadice. And then Shanklin, I think it was 92nd minute, Shanklin scored.
And you can only...
Typical Lauren Shanklin, isn't it?
I mean, like, in the 91st minute, you think to yourself, what an away day this has been.
Yeah, of course, especially for the Morton fans that travelled up. I mean, after all the sort of struggles they've had this season, they'd have been thinking, what a great result, and that would have put them really looking up at the promotion playoffs as well. But United just have found a way to ground out results this year. They did it again. Shanklin getting a point for them. Ultimately, the league's won for United.
Aye, the league, well, it's been won for a good while now.
And the final game of the weekend was another one. The second game I was on double duty this weekend. Second week in a row, Ayr have faced a team from the Highlands who they've had a terrible record against. It was 17 years since Inverness last got beaten by Ayr in the league until Saturday. 17 years.
Jesus.
I love watching Ayr. I love going down to Somerset. I love listening and speaking to Mark Kerr. All the sort of talk pre-match was Alan Forrest. The rumour had broke by BBC that
St Mirren was it?
No, it's Partick Thistle, Dundee and Livingston.
St Mirren were looking at him
no,
as well.
The rumour was that Livingston had made a pre-contract offer, but they were also looking to pay the fee to get him in January. He was great again at the weekend. On the game, Inverness. It was a really good game actually. There was chances for both sides. When Ayr went in front, they looked really comfortable, and on the counter looked a real threat. Stephen Kelly scored the goal on loan from Rangers. He's been really good. Post-match, Mark Kerr said that Ayr are now offering players more money than they ever have done in their history to keep them because they want to keep them. So
because Ayr are in a situation, I was speaking at the weekend. I was speaking at the Celtic game, Walker, talking about Ross County being a team who could potentially finish that 11th spot if things didn't go well.
And Ayr have already proven they can beat them.
Yeah, and I was saying is, look, Hearts, the way I was wording it was Hearts might be worried they might go straight down, but they should be just as worried by finishing 11th
especially because this team's in the top. They're going to have their tails up as well.
I think teams. I mean, we talk about the state Dundee are kind of in just now, but Inverness, Ayr, Dundee, and Dunfermline, I think, are all in positions where over the course of 2 legs, 2 ties or whatever, can take.
The thing is about that is because
place.
To get into, I mean, for the Championship teams, they've already played at least one double-legged tie before they play the Premiership side, so they've just won that. They're going in with their tails up against a Premiership tie who have just finished 11th and haven't had a game for like 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough one. I mean, John Robertson said after the game he wasn't happy with his players. I mean, Inverness could have gone 7 clear of Ayr in second. They're now just a point between the two, and whoever finishes second, so third and fourth play each other, and then, so second's a big thing. And Ayr, we'll be looking to try and pit them to that.
I think that at this point in the season, just with how things are going, I could fancy her for second.
What a league, though! I mean, there's 7 points.
It's been a very entertaining
between bottom and fourth. There's 7 points.
A very entertaining season down there this season. That's why I'm glad we've got all this going, because normally I would keep glimpses on it, but now I feel like I'm paying attention, and it's great because this league has been so entertaining this year.
The thing is, it's still not beyond the realms of possibility that Thistle could finish fourth.
Exactly, and I mean, despite Dundee United running away with it at the top of the table, as we clearly see. The rest of the league has been. I mean, you yourself as a Dunfermline fan know you go for 5 straight losses, thinking the worst. To now party time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was 3 wins, and I thought, listen, we're going to fly in the second half of the season. Then we lose 5, and then that's the thing. We've lost 5 and just won 1, but the one win has made such a difference.
Completely changed it. So we'll briefly fly over League 1 and League 2 because I think we're a decent wee chunk into the show.
Some cracking games. I mean, I don't want to. The fact that I've got to sit here and talk about Falkirk winning 6-0 just frustrates the hell out of me.
Nice for you to be up, wouldn't it?
No, I mean I could have been there as well. I was offered that game as well. Thank God I turned it down. But no, it looks like now Falkirk are really starting to find their groove in League 1.
I predicted them to win it.
But
I told you.
Yeah. They scored goals. Fair enough. Great result for them. But the big game in League 1, I think, was Rafe.
Aye, that's what I say. At the top end of the table, still Rafe. They had a decent season as well.
I think they were either 4 in front or 4-1 in front, and Montrose almost mounted an almighty comeback. Second half, what were they? 3-0 in front, and it almost ended up the story for Wraith is they've got a young lad, Kieran Bowie, who I think is 17 years old, and he scored like a load of goals for them this season. Great young talent, scoring goals for them. And the League One, the end of the League One season is going to be fascinating. I mean, it's so tight at the top still. I mean, even...
Yeah, we spoke about this also. Ray Falkirk and Airdrie all sitting there.
I mean, Airdrie in third, 4 points off top.
No, but Airdrie will be disappointed, obviously, because they dropped points. Yeah, they dropped points at the weekend.
Stranraer as well, bottom of league.
I know, that was one we spoke about when we were doing our predictions last week. It's a surefire win for Airdrie there. And it just that's the story of lower league football, I suppose. You know, you get these shocks and things pop up now and then.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as much as Wraith and Falkirk are Dunfermline's two biggest rivals, they are championship clubs, without a doubt.
Aye.
You know,
it was shocking to see Falkirk go down. It was obviously a complete mess that was happening there, but you never in a million years would have expected the tumble that they had.
Yeah,
but now they've got a chance to go right back up. They're in a position where I feel like they've got a lot of momentum on their side. They're scoring goals this season. As I said, I tipped them for the title when
they're the form team in the league just now. They really are starting to find their groove.
Aye. Despite how good Rafe have been, I just still have that feeling Falkirk will.
I think both of them are going to go up.
It's what it is. I think it's going to be the same situation.
Which is why it was terrifying me that Dunfermline might go down, because I was like, oh my god, if we go down
Falkirk,
and they both, Falkirk and Rafe both go, I mean, it was terrifying me. But no, I fancy them both to go up. It's going to be interesting because Airdrie won't have given up on winning the league.
No, there's not a chance because Airdrie, you know, as I said,
I mean, next
things
week,
pop up.
Airdrie,
These things
Airdrie
happen.
at home to
Rafe
back next week. So
if
Airdrie win that,
it changes a lot.
Yeah,
and just over the course of a week down here, it changes a lot. And then briefly over the rest of League One, we had Peterhead beating Dumbarton 1-0. And Clyde, David Goodwillie scoring again.
Yeah, I mean, they were a goal behind and came back to win it. The on-loan Dunfermline defender Tom Lang scored the winner, his first senior goal. He was signed from Clyde in the summer for Dunfermline. We let him back in January. He's not been playing, he's been injured, so good for him to get running games and score the winning goal as well. He'd be delighted with that.
Fantastic stuff. And then League 2, I mean, Edinburgh City.
Edinburgh City almost dropped points.
Nearly.
Yeah.
Nearly.
Cove, another comfortable win.
As you'd expect.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like Cove are showing no signs of letting up. Mitch Megginson again. I mean, what a player. I mean, he's...
I think you've spoken about him already.
Yeah, I mean, in the Highland League he was flying. He's doing it in League 2 now. He's still got another level or two to go up. Cove, I think, well, they've won their last 5. Edinburgh dropped, only lost one of their last 5, which is... That's how good Cove have been. Exactly. That was such a big thing.
That one... Well, and they'd still be 2 points behind me. You look at that in the last 5 games, both of them, you'd look at that and consider both of them as fantastic form. But Edinburgh City will be kicking themselves for that loss because, you know,
it could be 2 points,
a big advantage.
Now it's 5 points.
Exactly.
And Cove show no signs of letting up.
I don't think they will.
But yeah.
I feel like that's their title. And then briefly around the league there as well, Cowdenbeath getting a 3-2 win over Brecon.
They're having a great season, Cowdenbeath. A really good season.
By all accounts.
Now, so.
And then Stirling Albion losing out to Elgin at home in a 2-1 win. Queen's Park drawing with Albion Rovers.
And Albion Rovers, 10 men of Albion Rovers as well.
Aye,
good result for Kevin Harper's man. So.
Queen's Park will be disappointed. And that was the story of the weekend round the leagues.
A really good weekend. I enjoyed
it. A really good weekend in the Premiership for Celtic and Rangers. The title challenge. Who am I? The title challenge.
It's still so refreshing for me as a neutral to have a top
because
challenge.
That's what brings us on nicely to the next part. There's only 2 midweek games in the Premiership in the top 4, and it's a midweek games on in any other leagues actually. Now I think about it, I don't want to go in too much.
Well, we'll start with, we mentioned it briefly, Celtic go to
St Johnstone. I'll be there. I'll be able to give you the first hand review.
Yeah, Celtic should win that. But yeah, and Rangers host Ross County.
Aye, Brooks.
Pretty hellish week for Ross County having to go to the Old Firm twice now.
I think that Celtic have got obviously a difficult game in their hands because St Johnstone, historically over the past few years, McDermott Park has been no bother for Celtic. You know, we've went there, we've put goals by them. We even scored a Puskas nominated goal at McDermott Park. The interesting thing is how Neil Lennon does recover from this kind of abuse that he was getting.
It's not like he's not used to it though, is it?
I know, exactly. He gets judged for everything. And, I mean, I think that this game, we need... Edouard shouldn't be playing, right? Despite how good he is, if he isn't fit to play, he shouldn't be playing.
That's the sad thing though, because it seems like they've got almost no choice. I mean, he saved their bacon at the weekend. So. He made the difference.
This to me screams out opportunity for Kamala. Now, I'm not going to be overly concerned if Kamala doesn't get the goal, but then
Kamala won't play if he's going to play one up front. I don't see.
I think he could.
But that just is even more mental because it means Lennon's going to play one striker, and the 3 games where he plays one striker,
I
he's got a different striker.
I don't think it will happen. I don't think.
Is it going to be Bayo next weekend?
But it could, because there's we need to get something out of him. We need to see something, because 10 minutes at Partick in 30 seconds against, how was it, came on for about 30 seconds against, I've forgotten the midweek. Kelly is not, telling of anything. So I would like to see him at least get 45 minutes of football here, starting one of the halves, because Edouard should not be risked right now. I don't think, as much as Edouard, as you said, saved their beating, he shouldn't come onto the park. I think, don't risk it. We need him fit. There's Copenhagen coming up.
We've said all season that if Edouard gets injured, they're in trouble. They've been lucky so far. Moving on to the other side of the Old Firm, Alfredo Morelos is back for Rangers. They will be delighted to have him back.
He'll get goals.
I don't see any other result than a Rangers win, and probably a comfortable Rangers win. I mean, just having Morelos back will lift the crowd. It'll lift everyone.
I'll be buzzing.
Yeah, I mean, they will be absolutely delighted. So I fancy Rangers to win it comfortably.
I don't think there'll be any changes to the table. Put it that way. I
wouldn't have thought so, but I think if you had to bank on one to drop points, it would probably be Celtic, I'd have thought.
I feel like I can understand that there will be some sort of. It's just that it's this season. There was never ever any point in the season where anyone is confident in Neil Lennon. I feel Celtic fans aside, I feel around the league, people are always going to doubt Lennon wherever he goes. But I feel like tomorrow night, there's not much that can go wrong. Surely, I mean that's what Rangers fans would have said on Sunday.
Yeah. You'd imagine both will win, but again, we didn't expect a slip up on Sunday and we got one, so
massive.
That's the thing. I mean, both sides are going to push each other to make sure they don't slip up. It's vital Rangers win, but just as vital that Celtic win as well. Also, tonight, the podcast should get out just before these games, so I think we'll just briefly cover them. Scottish Cup 4th round replays, Falkirk at home to Arbroath.
Exciting again here.
And Hibs at home to Dundee United, which will be...
I'm glad that got a replay. I predicted it, but I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's happening.
It's going to be a really interesting game because Hibs had the better of it at Tannadice in terms of possession and chances, but Dundee United away from home, there's less pressure on them. They can go there. They can allow to sit in and then break out.
Try and get something.
Is it on TV? I don't even think it's on.
No, I don't think this one is. I think it was only the one game that they had on TV.
But
both teams at the weekend obviously not giving us too much of an idea of what to expect tonight. Both dropping points.
I don't know if they rested players or what, but for me, Dundee United would have thought would have prioritised this game over Saturday because the league is almost done now. So for them, if they can win this, that'll be massive for them. Again, another chance for Shanklin to prove himself against top flight opposition.
And I think that he could get himself a wee goal tonight. But ultimately, if we're putting on our predictions for these two games, I'm going for Falkirk, and I'm sticking with Hibs. I think Hibs at Eastern Road. I think that's as much as I was.
It'd be a really interesting tie. I wouldn't put it past going to extra time like this game. I think it'd be really interesting.
Crying if it made penalties.
Yeah, it would be really good.
Take it right out.
But I would also have to go with both home sides. I think.
It just feels favourable.
Yeah,
in the home ways here.
So. Is there anything else to cover? I mean, I can't think of anything.
We've covered a lot for the Tuesday show. I mean, we've got another one this week.
Just trying to think if there's anything else that's happened.
I mean, any big news breaking in the world of Scottish football?
Sorrow's deal came through.
Sorrow's done, finally.
Has he got the papers to play? Has he got a work permit yet?
Yep, that's it.
Is it ready?
How
have they managed to wangle that?
I don't know, but
because they've done it a lot recently, but managed to persuade these people that these are proper talents.
I was expecting. I was terrified that what we were going to get was the David Turnbull situation. He's got a Celtic top on,
and it doesn't
go
through.
Yeah. But apparently he's raring to pull on the hoops, as he put it. And
I love how every Celtic target now is arriving at an airport and they're getting chased around by Rahman from STV.
Yep, and he's not even talking normally. he's
putting on his accents.
He's putting on his accents to try and get a easier bit of understanding.
Finally, big thanks to everyone for the sort of views and stuff and the feedback on the Joe Cardle interview. It was, for me, it was a bit of a massive moment interview. Probably my favourite Dunfermline player, in my lifetime.
Never forget.
No, definitely not. Great guy. And the feedback's been great. So hopefully we're going to have a Ryan Meets section alongside the David Meets section.
Hopefully soon. I mean, as I said the last time, Scott Brown is only a phone call away. I do wish. But hopefully we'll both be adding on some more similar content to that.
We're back on Thursday?
Back on Thursday. That's it. We'll be talking about what the title challenge looks like at that point.
And
we'll be previewing the weekend's games and maybe some more, because the transfers are flying in.
They are flying in.
Because that's...
Well, when does the window shut? Is it Will it be shut before the next podcast?
It'll be
Just
shut. It shuts on Friday, I believe.
Oh,
Friday.
right, okay, so... Right,
So we'll be down to the wire.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about who's been doing the best and who's been doing the worst business.
Yeah. Anyway, so make sure to like, subscribe, all the rest of it. Find us on Instagram and Twitter.
Everything's on screen anyway.
Yeah,
You know where to find us all. And I will be, hopefully, seeing you again on Thursday. David, thank you for joining us again.
Cheers.
And we'll see you all next time.